Okay, so my wife and I just celebrated our 5th wedding anniversary, and we were doing that thing couples do, reminiscing about all the weird, wild, and absolutely ridiculous moments from our relationship. And let me tell you this story. This is the one that always comes up. It's embarrassing, it's hilarious, and it involves bodily fluids in ways I never anticipated when I said, I do. Let me paint you a picture. When my wife and I got married, she was already 6 months pregnant. We were young, in love, and rapidly approaching parenthood. Now, pregnancy does some interesting things to a woman's body, and I'm not just talking about the growing belly. There are all these little challenges that pop up, things you never think about until you're living through them. One of those challenges? Personal grooming. Specifically, shaving. When you've got a basketball-sized bump blocking your view of basically everything below your ribcage, reaching your legs becomes an Olympic sport. And reaching, more intimate areas? Forget about it. Physically impossible. So I became my wife's personal groomer. And before anyone makes this weird, it wasn't. It was purely functional. She needed help, I helped. I'd shave her legs, help trim things up in areas she couldn't see or reach anymore. Was it glamorous? No. Was it romantic? Definitely not. But it was marriage, and marriage is a team sport. Fast forward to when my wife was about 8 months pregnant. She was huge. I say that with love, absolutely glowing, but also very, very pregnant. One day she came to me with this look of determination mixed with frustration and said, Honey, I need help. It's like the Amazon jungle down there, and I can't do anything about it. So we developed this whole system by this point. She'd stand over me, because sitting or lying down with that belly was basically impossible, and I'd work with an electric razor. Not a full shave, just a trim to keep things manageable and comfortable for her. I'd approach it methodically, like I was landscaping a garden. Start with the legs, then work my way up, left to right, or right to left, depending on the day. This particular session started normally enough. I'd finished both her legs, looking good, even trimming on both sides. I was working on what I'll delicately call the upper regions. I'd completed the right side and was transitioning to the left. Think of it like painting a wall. You go in sections, right? That's what I was doing, except instead of paint, it was an electric razor, and instead of a wall, you get the idea. Then, without warning, my wife sneezed. Now, if you've never been around a heavily pregnant woman, let me educate you. When they sneeze, sometimes other things happen. In this case, she peed. Just a little bit. Right on me. Laughing at memory, we both absolutely lost it laughing. I mean, what else are you going to do? I grabbed a towel, wiped myself off, and we kept going. At that point in the pregnancy, we were way past being embarrassed about bodily functions. This was just another Tuesday. I got myself sorted, repositioned, and went back to work. I just started on the left side when my wife suddenly went completely still. She gasped, not a little gasp, but a full, sharp intake of breath that made me freeze immediately. I looked up at her face, and in that split second, I knew something was happening. Before I could move, before I could say anything, before I could even process what was going on, whoosh. Her water broke. Not gently. Not gradually. It was like someone had turned on a fire hose pointed directly at my face. It went everywhere, all over my face, down my chest, soaking my shirt. We're talking full-on deluge. We both screamed. Just pure, instinctual. What is happening? Screaming. Then we looked at each other, dripping and in shock, and the panic set in. This was it. Baby time. Right now. I jumped up, still soaking wet, still covered in amniotic fluid, and ran to the shower. I gave myself the world's fastest rinse. We're talking maybe 30 seconds under the water. I didn't even dry off properly, just threw on clean clothes while still damp. My wife was getting herself together, and I grabbed the hospital bag we'd had packed for weeks. We ran to the car. I ran, she waddled very quickly, and we sped to the hospital. The whole drive, we're oscillating between panic and nervous laughter. Did that really just happen? Yes, it did. A few hours later, and honestly, those hours are a blur of hospital rooms, nurses, monitors, and controlled chaos. Our beautiful, healthy baby boy was born. 10 fingers, 10 toes, perfect in every way. We were exhausted, overwhelmed, and completely in love. Then the gynecologist, who'd been absolutely professional and wonderful throughout the delivery, came to check on my wife afterward. She took one look, paused, and then started chuckling. "Nice grooming," she said with this knowing smirk. "Looks like a before and after photo." That's when it hit me. In all the chaos of the water breaking and rushing to the hospital, I'd completely forgotten. I'd only finished the right side. The left side was still completely untrimmed. My wife had gone through labor and delivery with what can only be described as a lopsided situation happening down there. I'd literally left my wife half-groomed during one of the most important, intimate, vulnerable moments of her life. One side neat and tidy, the other side still in its natural state. A perfect before and after comparison, right there on the same person. My wife, lying there exhausted with our newborn son in her arms, just started laughing. Not annoyed, not mad, genuinely laughing. "Of course," she said. "Of course this is how it happened. Of all the ways labor could start, it had to be while you were halfway through grooming me." Looking back on it now, 5 years later, it's one of our favorite stories to tell. Well, to tell each other, we're a bit more selective about who else hears the full version. But it perfectly captures what our relationship is like: helpful, occasionally chaotic, sometimes disgusting, but always finding humor even in the messiest moments. Did I learn anything from this experience? Absolutely. First, always finish what you start, although in this case, I had a pretty valid excuse for stopping. Second, pregnancy is unpredictable in ways you cannot possibly anticipate. And third, if you can't laugh at yourself when you're literally dripping with amniotic fluid while your wife is half-groomed and in labor, you're taking life way too seriously. Our son is 5 now, healthy and energetic, and absolutely no idea that his entrance into this world involved his dad getting a face full of amniotic fluid mid-shave. Maybe one day we'll tell him. Maybe we'll wait until he's old enough to truly appreciate the comedy and horror of the situation. But every year on our anniversary, without fail, my wife will look at me with that mischievous grin and say, "Remember when you left me half-shaved during labor?" And every year, I crack up all over again. Because honestly, how could I forget? That's a memory that's permanently burned into my brain, and apparently into the memory of one very amused gynecologist. So yeah, that's the story of how I became the world's worst groomer at the world's worst possible moment. And somehow our marriage survived. Actually, more than survived, we laugh about it constantly. If that's not true love, I don't know what is.